Right, we're back. The concrete has gone off sufficiently enough for us to start building. What we're going to do now, I'm going to show you in a minute how we've done it and why we've done it. We are using a Spectra self-leveling laser. It retails at about 600 quid. Jenny has got the staff and the finder. I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm also going to show you how to use a long level as well. So obviously not everybody's got a laser. We didn't have a laser when we started off. We started off using the level. So I'll show you how to do the nuts with the level as well. And I will show you what Jenny's got here. Right. Jenny has got the staff and the laser finder. There's the laser finder. So what happens there, the laser is there. I don't know if you can see that. It's self-leveling, it's spinning, so it's firing a beam round there. So if Jenny moves it up slowly, up, there you go. So when the line is in the middle, there, that's found the laser. So it's a datum line. So what we're going to do, visually we looked at it, that looked to be the highest point of the land, but if Jenny walks over to that corner over there, we then found, let me move that level, we then found that that was in fact the highest point of the land. So with that in mind, what we will do now, Jenny will wind down the nuts on there in a minute. Yeah, in a minute. And then what we'll do, we'll reset the staff to that height and we'll go around and set all the nuts to the right height. And I'll explain why we're doing that and how we're going to do it with a level as well. And just another little point as well. Jenny doesn't work for the BBC, do you, Jenny? Just to confirm. Yeah. So if the camera's a bit, yeah, just live with it. Isn't it, Jen? Yes. Yes. Right. We're also going to try and drop in as many sexual innuendos as we possibly can today without actually being too lewd. Right, so that's the start of it. I'm gonna let Jenny do that. I'm gonna get rid of all the soil. We're gonna drop it over there into that bit of waste ground there as well. We're gonna cut the strings off, move the pins, and then get some weed membrane down as well. So what she's done now, she's wound down the nuts to the height that we want them. That'll allow the clearance underneath for the slate batten to hold the insulation. We've reset the staff now. So what she's gonna do now, she will go around to each rod, wind down the nuts, put the staff on it, and then wind them up and down till the staff makes a solid beep, which means that rod there is then level with that rod. And then we'll start dropping a spirit level on as well, and we'll show you that way to do it as well, won't we? Yeah. Right, so yesterday I showed you we put the rods in, we put them in vertical, we put them on the string line, so we're happy with them today. The concrete's gone off more than sufficiently enough for our build to progress. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wind the nuts down the shaft. It's important that you keep the shaft clean. A nice straight rod and a clean shaft is what you're aiming for basically, because otherwise it will impede the nuts. So what we're going to do, we're going to wind them down. If your nuts are a bit tight, then what you need to do is just persevere with them. I always find that tight nuts soon loosen up after a little bit. Like I say, we're going to play sexual innuendo bingo, because I know some of you like it. So what I'll do, I'll wind the nuts down as quick as I can. And then when I'm somewhere near, I will grab the staff and hold it onto my rod, and then we will see where we're going from there. To be fair, as far as the innuendos come, I think the rods is the highlight of the innuendo game, but we will try and do it more with the timbers, because there's not like a nice bit of wood on the morning if you get it between your hands. Right, okay, so I'm getting somewhere near to where I want to be. I can visually see that. What I'll do now, if Jen's still filming, I'll get the staff, put it on the nuts. I can see that I want to go down to there, which is somewhere near the bottom, which is good for us basically, because that's what we want. We want a nice low building, 50 mil airflow underneath. That'll be more than sufficient for these treated timbers, and then it means we haven't got too much of a step up going into the building as well. Right, so it's just a little bit more, just that bottom nut's just a little bit tight. Right, so them nuts level with them nuts now, and I know that because the staff's beeping solid, it's a consistent beep. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to do it with a spirit level. You want a decent sized spirit level. Maybe this is why the camera's bouncing around, because you're playing with your hair. Possibly. Right, so I'm going to hold that on there like that. there you go. I don't know if Jen can see that bubble is perfectly level. Of course it is, because we've used a laser. Right, so if we're going to do it with the spirit level, because you haven't got a laser, that's absolutely fine as well. So visually, I know that these nuts want to come right down. So I'll get them right down. Couple of little things I want to address in all. 3-4-5 rule. I do know what it is. We don't use it on the string lines because getting an accurate 3-4-5 on some timber that's sat on the floor or on a piece of MDF or ply and you mark it now, it's absolutely fine. But if you try to do it over some tight string lines, you're not going to get... You can measure your 3, you can measure your 4, but you're going to struggle with your 5. That's why we use a folding square. Does that make sense? Because you've got 2 string lines, yeah? Right, you've marked 3 and 4, and then you're trying to hold a tape measure from 3 to 4 to get 5. Yeah. And if you come in a little bit, it's not accurate, and you need 3 people. You need 1 person to pull the string line. You need 1 person to hold the tape measure on the 3, and then you're on the 4. Does that make sense? Yeah, so you've now... You can't, no, because if you put the tape measure on that string line, no matter how taut it is, when you pull it to get the tension on it, you're going to pull the string line. So you've now employed 3 people to do the 3-4-5, which mathematically is perfect. But a folding square is 20 quid, and you can sack other 2 people. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wind them down. We did have a little rubber wheel, but as with all other things as well, it's got lost. Right, so we know they're level. Right, so what I want to do now, if your level is slightly out, Jen, can you see the level? Right, so let's say this I'm level there, but let's say our level's broken and it's slightly out. So what I'm going to do there then, I'm going to pick the level up, I'm going to rotate the level and put it back down. So if the level's out a couple of mil, every time you rotate it, you're rectifying it, whereas if you don't rotate it, you're out 2 mil there, you're out 2 mil there, 2 mil there, and before you know it, you're 8 mil out, and you're confused because when you get all around there, you're 20 mil lower than what you started off. So rotate your level. So I can see that it's well high there. What might actually happen now, because we've only checked the laser at the corners, we actually find that one of these internal ones is higher. But what I'll do then, rather than going back and change the nuts, I'll dig it out. Saddle. I'm not far off there now. There, Jen, if you want to come over here. So that's the level. I've rotated the level. Can you... Are you all right? Right. Is the red light still on? Yeah. Are you still alive? Yeah. Right, so can you see the level there, look? So it's slightly out, I've gone down too far. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wind the nut up. So the beauty of this rod system is you can completely do it yourself at home. It's a no-brainer, right? Secondly, it's millimetre perfect. Can you see that now? It's perfect, right? So we know that's right. So what I'll do then now, I'll rotate the level again and stick it on there and go that way. Well, I won't, because we're going to use laser, because that's what we bought it for. And another thing, are we still going? Yeah. Right, trousers, you want to know what trousers they are. They are Mascot Advance. They're the best trousers you will ever buy. We have no affiliation with no other company. We're not sponsored, we're not branded by anybody. These are the trousers of choice, aren't they, Jen? Yeah. Unfortunately, Mascot, you need to get your ass into gear because you don't do holster pockets for women's trousers. So they've ended up buying male trousers which don't quite fit as well as what they should. So get yourself into gear, Mascot, give us a buzz and we can get Jen and Amy wearing some of your beautiful Mascot trousers. Secondly, I've got my new boots on today. And they're very comfy. People ask questions, Jen. They want to know. Right, Jen, off you go. Start lasering. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of all this topsoil, throw it under there. The grass, not the right shovel for this, but at this moment in time, it's all I've got. Right, so Jen has wound the nuts down with the laser. What we're going to do now, see they're still finger tight there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the top nut, lock that off on there. We know the top one's the level one, so we need to wind the bottom one up to meet it. And then what we're going to do then is just tighten them nuts up. Like such, and that will stop them spinning off against each other under any vibration or anything like that. If you want to be completely anal about this, and it's something I thought about doing, is tack welding them, but that's a step too far even in my books. Right, what Jen's going to do now, that's the weed membrane. It's a weed suppressant membrane. It stops any vegetation growing through under the build. Under the build. There's a massive shortage of everything now. I guess it's because you guys are all making garden rooms and we can't get materials now, which is a bit of an own goal, isn't it, Jen?
Okay.
Right, so what we're going to do, Jen's going to walk over there. She's going to pull this tight. I'm going to push it down onto the rods. Yep. Right to the fence. Right, so right to the fence. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to find one of these green lines and I'm going to pop it down on there, like that. Jen's going to pull it tight for me. Keep popping them down on there like that, and there should be one there, there is. Well, just watch your face like that don't pop down. And you got right. Do you want to cut it next to the fence, Jen? Like I say, we normally get a 5x4 piece of this, but there's a shortage, so we've had to use this meter stuff and join it. Not in it well. And once Jen's cut that, then we'll then do the same again and work our way backwards, taking care not to fall on the rod. Right, Jen. Do you want me to pull it this time?
Yeah, I wanna.
We're going to overlap it a bit, so can you see your rod? Have you just got one there, Jen?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, if you put it on there, once she's got that on there, then I will, that's it. Pull mine down like that. We've overlapped it, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. What we're going to use then as well is some of these ground staples. Let me see if they're in shot. They are, yeah, available from Tool Station. So on the overlaps there, Jen, what we're going to do, we're just going to push them in like that, stand them down, yeah. That'll stop any wind lift getting under the building and moving the membrane. Do you want some more, Jen?
Yes, please.
Right, so there's the 4x3, right. It's a wall plate. If you're struggling to get hold of it, it's actually called wall plate. What happens is that goes on your internal skin in your house. When I say internal skin, I mean your internal brickwork, your block work. So that would sit on there, then your roof joist would sit off there, your bird mouth from into there. But the 4x3, as it happens, is a structurally sound bit of timber. It will sit lovely in the shoe and provide a good perimeter for the building of the walls on. Right, I know that you're struggling to get true 100mm. Ours is 100mm. If it's 90mm, it's not end of the world. Get 90mm insulation, you're not going to lose no sleep over it. This is vacuum treated. It's gone in a vacuum tank and it's been treated with a preservative, which stops rot and also stops insect infestation. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cut it longer than what I need. We know it's a 3 metre, but we make it a little bit bigger, so I'm good at 3.8 on that. I'll cut it longer. The offcut's not going to do us out anyway, so it'll be only scrap. So what I'll do, like I said, we've got no affiliation with nobody, so all the tools we use, the clothes we wear are what we supply ourselves because we like them and we're comfortable with them. Yeah? Right. So we're using the DeWalt miter saw. Like I say, that'll be scrap. We've got a skip on this site, which is unusual for us on first day. But we'll load that up there and that'll go for skip. So what's going to happen now, I'm going to put that into position where it needs to go. I'm going to hold it tight to the rod. If Jen comes over here, she'll see what I'm going to do then. So I'm letting it fly over there. I'm letting it fly over that end as well, Jen, yeah? So if you come over here, look, you'll see I'm holding it tight to the rods. What I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the position of the rod for drilling the hole. So basically, I'm going for the centre of the rod, and then what I'll do is I'll find the centre of the timber, put across. Well, I won't actually, I'll do it freehand, but what you should do is measure it, find the centre of the timber, put across, drill your 25mm hole in there, same on there, and then I'm going to chainsaw that bit out so that when the nut sits down, don't know if you can see that, Jen, can you? Yeah. When the nut sits down, the nut isn't higher than the timber, so when the timber floor goes over there, it sits flush. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mark it, going to drill it, going to chainsaw it out, then we're going to go for breakfast, aren't we, Jen? So that's them. What I'm going to do now, because Adam's nipped off, he's got the trestles in his van, so I've no means of keeping this off the floor. Put a piece of that under each side, and then when I drill through it, I'm not going to drill into the mud. I might as well show you. Jen, should we drill this one, chainsaw it, and then go for breakfast? Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is live.
You're not going to build the frame first, the outside first, and we'll go for breakfast after.
Yeah, sure. Adam might be back then. Right, this is a Milwaukee drill. We started off using the Makita drill. It burnt out a couple of times. Then we got a Hikoki plug-in drill. But then John got me onto this. It's really powerful. It's so powerful I put a red ring on it to warn you that is of its power. You can just... It's dangerous. So I've got this 25mm DeWalt speed bit, which again, this in combination with this drill is an awesome bit of kit. That'll take the skin off your hand, that you're not going to stop that. So what I'm going to do, if Jen follows me over here, like I say, what you normally do is measure timber and find centre, but do you know what I mean? I can gauge it. That's about centre there. So what I'm going to do, that's a 25mm, that's 24mm. There's a mil clearance, going to be a little bit tight. So what I'm going to do, as I go in, I'm going to start to go that way and that way when I get towards the bottom. So when the rod sits on, it can go in the hole a little easier, because what you need is, when you're getting into the hole, you need it just a bit wide at the beginning, but then tight at the top, if that makes sense. Yeah? So the opening needs to be a bit wider, so you can just get the rod in. And then once the rod's in, drive it home, yeah? And then it'll be tight. Does that make sense? Right, so you can see there the speed of that. It's literally pulling the drill through. If Jen just keeps watching now, the only downside to these bits is the flute doesn't go all the way up, so it's not self-clearing like it normally would be. But if you just pull it up and down like that. So if you see the bottom now, I've come out, yeah? But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to send it through at an angle, just to make that bottom of that hole bigger. The top stayed 25mm, look, yeah? But what I've done, I've loosened the hole and made the hole more acceptance to the rod, yeah? Right, so what I'm going to do now, is Jen looking at herself again. I'm going to drill them all. Like I said, the flute doesn't go all the way to the top, so you've got to clear the hole out. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger than what it needs to be. Do you want to stand up, gents? Yeah. Instead of doing your David Bailey. Like I say, Jen doesn't work for the BBC. She works here, so if her camera work isn't what you're expecting, then just live with it and move on. She's a good old sort, aren't you? And I've got to say, when I got these boots, it says on the packet, the comfiest boots you'll ever wear. They're living up to expectations at this moment in time. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get the chainsaw. What we want that nut to sit down levelish. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take out the top. Right, Jen, chainsaw is highly dangerous. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put on my chainsaw helmet, my ear defenders, my gloves, and I'm going to change into my chainsaw trousers. Right, so what I'll do now, I'll take off my chainsaw helmet, my ear defenders and my chainsaw trousers, and then I'll show you what I've just done. Ta-da! Right, so the reason why I've done that is because that nut wants to go there. Now, I appreciate that nut is slightly higher than that timber, but the time I've wound that down into that wood, it will compress and be flush. So when my OSB goes on the top of there, it will then cover that. so there's that piece of timber, it's prepared. What I'm going to do now is just roll it over and get rid of any burrs there, because although they will compress down, I just don't want them to happen really. Okay, so what I'll do now, I'll offer this up and Jen will stand back and film, and I'll just show what I'm going to do. I'm just looking for that hole there which I found. Because Adam's levelled these, they shouldn't be too far off. This one's slightly out, but just a little tap like that and it went over. Again, this one's slightly, there we go. So what will happen now is I'm just going to go down. I'm going to get the shoes so that they're ready to accept the 4x3. Like I say, I made the hole a bit bigger at the bottom. I loosened the hole so the rod can go in, and then that will then just drop down like that. It will sit onto the shoes. There you go. So it'll sit on the shoes. What we'll do then, we'll go around, we'll put a nut on there, wind it down, tighten it off. We'll angle grind the top of that off there. The board will fly over there. We'll do the rest of the perimeter now. We'll then put the centre timber in as well, and then we're going to put 4x2's joists running that way and then insulate in between. So the front timber's on. Sorry, the front timber's on, the back timber's on. What I'm going to do now, Jen's just cut this one, so I'm going to offer that into place like that. Sit it on top of them other ones. Put it tight up to the rods, and then I'm going to mark them and then cut them out as well. And then what we're going to do then is drop them down, and then we'll just chainsaw them bits off there so that it drops down fully. See, Jen's got Jen. Yeah. Just pop it on top like that one, look, and roll it. Right, so we've got the front, we've got the back on. We've now drilled and chainsawed the right-hand elevation wall. So what we're going to do now, we need that to drop down in between there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cut a chainsaw mark there, over there. I'll drop it down and then I'll slide that off again. But first I'll go put my chainsaw helmet on, my ear defenders and my chainsaw trousers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to chainsaw it there so that it drops down. You can see it's starting to drop down there already. I'll then do this side. So what'll happen now, that will drop down into place. There's a little bit of a twist on this timber, but it's nothing we can't get out. Nothing to do with the rods, it's just timber, as timber being timber, it twists, doesn't it? So that's dropped down nicely there. It's also dropped down nicely there. What I'll do now, I'll just cut off the remaining wall. Right, if you haven't got a chainsaw, then use a handsaw. That's what we used to do. We simply use a chainsaw for speed. Again, if you haven't got a chainsaw to do this, a circular saw set to depth will do exactly the same thing in a chisel and a hammer, or a handsaw and a chisel and a hammer will do exactly the same thing. All you try to do is get that down so that the nut sits there. You can cut that off, and then your Aga protector, whatever flooring you've got, is going to fit on. So I'm going to drop this one down now as well. We're going to do exactly the same scenario there as we did there. We'll put the centre one in, again, same as the sides. It will sit on top of there, sit on top of there. And then we will drill it and cut down. Other boots are available. Little side zip on them there as well, so you don't have to actually undo the laces when you take them off. I like them anyway. There you go. A bit louder.
I like them too.
There you go. And they're really comfy, so steel blue. Kudos to you. Right, I'm going to drill these and chainsaw these, and then we're going to go for breakfast.
My hands are too small. Press the button.
Keep it straight.
Right.
Keep hold it, drill.
Right, stop it. Messing around.
She's an angry elf.
I don't like this drill. I can't press it with my fingers.
Right, Milwaukee, can you address this situation you've got with this drill? It's not suitable for women's hands.
My hands are too small to be able to put it in reverse.
You can't flip it and reverse it.
It It's your nine yet.
One more time. One more time, Missy Elliott. She can't flip it and reverse it. Come on.
It's your nine yet. Right, stop it now. Looking right at the thing.
Bzz, 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 bzz.
So, how do you like working at Oakwood?
Well, I find it's okay. Keeps me busy. keeps me very busy, in fact. Adam's away on another job. He's drove off. He's took the petrol and the oil for the chainsaw. So, as I said before, chainsaw is not essential. You can use a circular saw or you can use a handsaw. But I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if we've got a handsaw, have we? I'm going to show you my chisels in a minute as well, because I did some the other day and I got a little bit of abuse about it. But I will show you. Right. So what am I doing? Okay. I'm what's the word called when you get old and you just drift off talking about crap? Anyway, right. So what I've done, I've set the depth of the saw to the height of the nut. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to lock that off. I've took the battery off the saw because what I tend to do when I set the saw is hold my fingers on the trigger like some kind of crazy bloke. Right, so I'm going to put the battery on the saw. Right, Jen's already cut this, but she's not managed to cut it there. So, because that's set to the depth now... Right, that's that one. Right, so what we're going to do is do this one from scratch. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to... Right, so I've cut that. It's to the right height. What I'm going to do now, if Jen comes over here, I'll explain something to you as well. Just come over here, Jen. Right, no chisels. Right, we don't... This is what we do. We do garden rooms. We're not doing like fine joinery like Rob Clevitt. You know, we're not honing our chisels and sharpening them every morning. So when I said I bought new chisels, the reason why I buy new chisels is because this was new last week. They get used for what they get used for. This is my tool bag, and these are my chisels. Now, they were new, believe it or not so long ago. Can you just see how I've honed that one there to a precision? You can shave with that. So that's what they end up like. So this is like the inside of my brain as well. So we're going to use a new chisel, and I'm going to chop it out with chisel if I can find the right one. And I have much respect for Rob Clevitt as well. Right, here we go. So I'm going to roll it on its side now. And just take them bits out. I'm going to miss it first. Comedy miss. Right, take them bits out like that. Jen's going to roll it for me. Flip it and right, so, and I'll take them ones out like that. So you could have done the same with a handsaw. So now what will happen now, it's exactly the same, not as tight as the chainsaw obviously, but that nut will wind on down there. It will compress sufficiently enough. I'll just take that bit out there. There you go, look, lovely sharp chisels. They'll be absolutely crap in a week. But there, that'll go down there and that'll be mint. Won't it, Jen?
Twill.
Yeah, twill. Them off. Again, Adam's bloody got the oil for the chainsaw, so I'm going to have to cut these by hand, but I suppose it gives you a chance to see how you can do it without a chainsaw. So what we're going to do, we're going to look for the hole which is the highest, which is that one there Jen's on. That's dropped down on there. Can you see that one there? That's gone on there as well, Jen. Just have a look at this one. Let me just clear that out so you can see it. Can you see down that hole? Can you see how it's slightly out? Yep. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull the rod. Have a look in there.
Hold on, I didn't see it. It's too dark.
Do you want me to do it again? Right, can you see down the hole? Can you actually see in the hole? Yeah. Right, so can you see the rod is to this side of the hole, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on the rod there, and it's dropped down. So that's all you need to do there. I've actually got a blood blister on my hand now because that dropped down so quick and efficient. Right, so I push that down to where it, as far as it can go. There should be a pack of saws. Has Adam got the saws as well, Jenny? Oh. Right, the full pack of saws? Yeah. It's not got in the car. It's what? Have you not got one in the car? Have I got one in the car? I have got one in the car. Right, I'll be back in a second. Okay. Right. Okay. So we got the timber dropped on the skip yesterday. The skip arrived first. That's the reason why it's there. 3x3. There's all our sheet material. This is the car. Look again. So you've looked in the mind of the toolbox. This is the mind of the car. This is how things work. Ooh, what's this? It's my cowboy hat, because I'm getting a lot of abuse now saying I'm a cowboy. Ta-da! I like to face my abusers head on. Right, so that's Adam's chopping board. Boot of the car. Very much like the front of the car and very much like my brain. Let's have a look. So, if you're looking for screws from Toolstation, there ain't none because I've bought them all. And there we are. We have a saw. There you go. 5-minute glue. All the glue's available. Right, we're going to saw these by hand now. I'm going to do challenge Annika and see if Jen can keep up with me without wobbling the camera. Right, so Jen, what I'm going to do now, right, here's what you want to do. If you're tight against fence, tight against wall, you want to think about where your 250mm screws are going. It will be easier to drive the 250mm screw in from that direction than it will be from that direction. So with that in mind, I am going to saw this here with this rather blunt saw. Again, you can see the pressure on the man's face. So, no chainsaw, no problem. Get rid of that one over there. Get rid of them over there. Again, be easy to drive there than there, so I'll cut this off. Using that as an edge, as a straight edge for there. Do you need winding again? Give it as much drive as you can. Right, that's going to pop off there now. There you go. What we're going to do now, if Jen stands back a little bit, she'll be able to see. I'm now going to walk on this, and it should pop down. That's down there. That's down there. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take these off. And what we will do then, we'll get 250mm screws and drive them in there, and I'll show you how we're going to tie that corner in as well. So if you're watching from still and you want to donate some petrol or some oil, feel free. Or knee pads. What are we on the lookout for, Jen? Knee pads? Oils. So that's the perimeter of the building. We've still yet to drop. Rather flexible. We've still yet to drop the middle in. Oh, and if you're watching this and you're a rugby fan, then when you see Leeds playing next time, you want to look at the advertising in the stadium, and you should see Oakwood Garden Rooms. Right, we're going to drop the middle on now as well. Yeah, Adam, we've run out of like petrol, no batteries, no saws. We've given you a bit of a slagging off on video.
It's not my fault. I had fully planned to do this.
Look, I've been
Till this morning.
I've been proper ripped off. That's all they had, and there's like 10 in the box or something stupid. Right, we're going.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to use these 250mm screws. In fact, no, they're not. They're 260mm. We get them from Toolstation, but it seems so does everybody else now, so there's a proper shortage of these. And I bought these, and they're half the packet they used to be, and I'm not very happy, Toolstation. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to drive that. Adam's turned back up on site now, and he's already pointing fingers and being aggressive. Right, but can you see that there, Jen? There, see that there, look?
Yes.
There's a step in that, so that timber there, I don't know if you can see it, it's slightly twisted. It's not the end of the world. So what I'm going to do, I am going to get this one started. It's a Makita, it's a Delta Tango Delta 171. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to then drive that up like that. There, can you see that now as flush? Look, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Right, and then they pulled in, didn't they? And I'm going to put the second one in. I won't lie, the Makita's done better than that before, and I don't know why it's doing that. The bit holder's gone, Adam, you got another bit holder for me. Jen, do you want to touch that bit holder so you can pull it out? It's just red hot, obviously. Right, so it won't come out, so, little trick for you, stuck in there. Hit it, put your top on it. There you go. Flip it and reverse it. Ooh, what's that? Yeah, but I've got that one stuck in there now. I need a bit older. It's not the best day, is it? No, it's not that kind of drill. Right, okay, so that's stuck in there. So that was a bit of a fail. Right, Adam's now told us that we've got these other ones here. These are the ones I normally buy, to be fair. That don't fit on there either. He's walked off with a bit, hasn't he? Ooh. Ooh, that one does. Yes. Back in business, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to go around. That's nice and flush there. I'm happy with that one anyway. But we're going to fix all the perimeter, and Jen says we've got to stop making videos because we're not getting any work done. Much better. Right, so there you go. There's two in there. I'm going to put two in each corner, two over the other side, and then I'm going to go around and I'm going to wind the nuts down. In fact, Jen's going to go around and put the nuts on. She's going to wind them down, then I'm going to cut them off with the angle grinder, and then we're ready to start putting our 4x2s in. Right, what he's doing is winding down the nuts so it's lower than the timber, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grind the top of the rod off. I'm also going to grind off that screw that you see me fail with there because it didn't go in, it won't come out, it won't do out now. Right, so, I mean, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and do all of them, obviously, but here's...
The impatience of Liam is now going to burn his fingers. He can't be bothered waiting for it to cool down.
That won't cool down this year. Oh, it's really hot.
He must have been catching it on the nut.
Right inside down?
No.
Yes?
No.
That's what you just said?
No, I didn't.
Right inside away?
Other way, right inside.
That way?
Yes.
That in the way the blade were in last time?
I know.
Yeah, well, that's because somebody put it in wrong.
Oh, well, that's still really hot.
That's why we're looking at it like...
Right, well, why don't you tell me? Right, okay, so I've asked the wrong question then. What's the question, Jen? Loud, because the microphone's there.
You said it right, but just the blade went wrong way around.
Adam, which way around?
But it's got to be the
Adam, come here.
Rough side in.
Rough side in.
painted edge on the outside.
Painted edge facing you?
Facing me.
Well, that's what makes sense. I don't understand. Shit. That is really hot.
And also never pull the blade towards you, it shatters it.
There you go. So, Jen knows more about grinder blades than I do. Right, perimeter, centre. What we're going to do now, we're going to use these tannalised 4x2. They're a true 100. If you're struggling, get smaller insulation, it won't bend at world. We're having 400 spaces. Now, it's a 400 space, not 400 centre. The 400 spaces so we can economically use the insulation, because your insulation board is 2.4, and obviously multiples of 400 add up to 2.4. Less your saw blade. Adam's shaking his head. You're not looking like confident in my math there. Right, so I've marked 400. What we're going to do with this, I'm going to put some joist hangers on. Now, I know what you're going to say. Why don't you buy a PPN nailer? 2 reasons. I used the DeWalt PPN nailer before, and I was quicker by hand. I believe the Pazload's a lot better, but the nails are ridiculously expensive. So, for the time being, we're going to use hand hammer and nails. Right, joist hanger, 50mm joist hanger, twist nail. Can you see the twist on it? Yeah. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to drive them home, rotate it over. It's fine, Jen. And then Jen's cut it. I've given her a measurement which is slightly too long. The reason why I want it slightly too long is so that when I push it in, it's tight. And we like it when it's tight. So I'm going to get these on. By magic, it twists itself. What I'll do then, I'll offer it into place. I've already, if Adam comes over, he'll see where I've marked it. Can you see there, Adam? Right, can you just see, look, step back, can you just see it's tight, and I wanted it tight so that when I knock it in, I am knocking it in, it will hold itself, and I'm not having to fight with one end while I nail it while the other end's flopping around. So again,
You want it nice and stiff.
Yeah, you want it nice and stiff, and of course, if it's tight, it might be stiff at the same time. That wants to be flush like that. What we're going to do then, we're going to get some nails in there. What we'll do then, the joist hangers are obviously too big. We'll just give it a little nip there, either with some tin snips or with the grinder, and then what we'll be able to do then is bray it over. Failing that, you can bray it into submission like that, but what you will need to do is make sure that it's flat down, because it will impede your flooring otherwise. What you want to do is nail that complete, bend it over. One nail in the back side of it will hold that into position, and then again just beat it to death. What we're going to do, we're going to go all the way down with these joist hangers. I'm going to shout the measurements to Jen. Jen's going to cut them, I'm going to hammer them, Adam's going to put them in place, and then as if by magic, next time you see us, all the joist hangers will be in and we'll be ready for insulation. So that one's in there. It's dropped down a little bit there, just through me knocking it, so and get that nice and level. So that bay there is 400. It's not a 400 centre, it's a 400 bay, which gives you more economical use of your insulation, and it's absolutely fine. What we're going to do, and all before we forget, we'll drop some slate lats underneath there to support the insulation and drop it, stop it dropping through. That's what we'll do, won't we? But we'll push them in from that side over there. So there you go. I've got them in. What I'm going to do is spray the hell out of that. I should have put my cowboy hat on for that. But there you go. As long as that's flat, that ain't going nowhere. That strap is going to hold that there. You can cut it with a grinder if you want. Probably safer if you do it the way I've just done it now. What are you laughing at, Jen?
Laughing.
My roughness? Yeah, with the yellow.
Yeah, it's just for photo purposes.
Was it?
What the difference?
Yeah, but... Right, so that's flat there. What'll happen now that Egger Protect will sit over there nice and flush. That's low as well, which is good. That's flat, and that's what you want. 400 bay, 400, 400, 400. What we'll do then, on this one, we'll stagger it. We'll put it 200 there because you don't want two joist hangers sat in front of each other like that. So we'll put 200 there, then 400, which will mean they will go like that, bum, 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 and miss them, bum, bum, bum. Okay, so that is it. Jen's going to cut them, Adam's going to fix them, and I'm going to nail them. Like I said, we're going to space them 400 spacings, but we don't want the joists to clash with them ones, the joist hangers, because it's just pain in the ass. So what we're going to do, this one there, it's a 200 spacing on there, but it's falling on the shoes, which sometimes they are going to fall on the shoes. You can't get the joist hangers on them. So what we're going to do, we're going to notch it out like so.
Tell them how much you notched it.
I've notched it out 50 mil and I've come in about 10, 15. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that into position, and then we're going to go back to the long 250 screws and screw them through. What we'll do, we'll put 2 in there, and that's how you get past that then. So what you've got, you've either got your joist hanger or your 250 screws, and then again, that one there now, because that'll be a 400 spacing, that one will fall nice in between there, and you can still wrap your joist hangers around there. So either got joist hangers with twist nails or 250 screws holding these in. Seen us level the rods, we've put the weed suppressant barrier down as well. We've used 4x3, it's pressure treated, it's going around the perimeter, and it's also going down the middle as well. We've used 4x2 pressure treated joists as well. They're sat on joist hangers. If they're not sat on joist hangers, it's because we've landed on the shoe and we've put 250 screws through there. So that's it for today. It's going to belt it down in a minute, so we're wrapping up for today, and we're going to go to the bar job and do a end of video on there, so we better see that as well. So tomorrow we're going to drop some slate lats under there to support the insulation, which will sit in there, 100mm PIR insulation. Then what we'll drop over the top of that is there is no Egger Protect apparently in the country, so we're now using Egger Easy Peel, is it, Adam? Which is, it's not as nice, is it? No. It's still moisture resistant though, so that's good. We'll get the floor on tomorrow, we'll get the walls up tomorrow as well, we'll get it all boarded tomorrow, and if we have a good day, which we should do, we'll get the roof on. Don't see why not, do you? It's only small. Okay, so the bifold doors are going to sit there, they're all going to slide to this side. There'll be a window here which looks out onto this elevation over there when we've got all that chipped and taken away. There was a big conifer there, Jen fell successfully. She's available for tree surgery, if anybody's interested. So that's it basically, that's your base system in. If I could get my car in here when I boarded this, I would literally drive it on top. I'm that confident with the weight bearing capabilities of this system. It's millimetre perfect. I've showed you how we do it with the laser. I've also showed you how to do it with the spirit level as well. We've cut the recesses out with a chainsaw, I've cut them out by hand as well, and I've cut them out with a circular saw as well. So that's it, you don't have to have all the tools, you don't even have to have any idea really, just follow the instructions. And build packs are for sale, £96, 13 different sizes, available at www.awkwardgardenrooms.com, and you can build your own to the same specification as the best garden rooms in the country. Thank you. Right, what we're going to do now, so the base is in, we're going to drop some slate lats under there. Now, the insulation is 1200 long. So what we're going to do, we're going to work from the back. If Jen comes over, I'll show you. So the bay there is approximately 1500 long. So what we'll do, we'll put a slate batten there. We'll put another slate batten at 1100, and that'll support that bit of insulation there. And then we'll drop another 2 slate battens in there, which will support that bit of insulation there. You don't want the insulation falling through because that just defeat the object. So the slate battens underneath will help. What we're going to do, we're going to push them under. We're going to hold them up under like that and spike some nails through with pas load, but I'll show us doing that as well. I've nipped up for some insulation, and that's it. Right, so this is spiking them through. It's literally just sending a nail through at an angle, through the 4x3, into the slate lat, which will then allow you to put, just pull it past that shut, there we go. Which will allow you then to put your insulation in, and it'll just stop it falling through. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure we'll start at 1200 at the back, so it's unfortunate this one falls on the shoe, so we'll just put it to that side of the shoe there. You there, Jen? Right, so the 1200 on the board will finish there. So this little piece here, we're going to put 2 in because we don't want it to drop down and keep it off at floor. You there, Jen? Yeah. What's that tone of voice for? Does that mean of course I am? It's not your first rodeo. Nor is it mine, Jen. Just looks like it is, that's all. Just push that one across if you can. Right, so that'll be 1200. That'll be an offcut. What we're going to do then, that'll be 1200 and that'll be the offcut. So we'll slide these under here and get these fixed as well. Right, so we're putting the insulation in, we've got the slate battens there, and don't forget, so you've got your steel shoes which protrude out past the 4x3. So what we've done, we've just notched out to account for the steel shoe there. That will then pop into there, like so. There you go. And what we'll do now, we'll infill these little bits. It's starting to rain, so we may actually call it a day now. But what you want to do now, what I don't really want, what we do in the warmer months, we put a breathable membrane over the top of that, but because it's raining now in the wetter months, if you imagine that foil there, so the water's not going to go through the foil, you put the breathable membrane over there and you've got your water trapped in between there and the underside of the floor. Once you start to build your room and the room dries out, the water is sucked back up into the room by osmosis through the gaps. And because we're trying to finish these in like a shorter period of time, having a wet floor for any prolonged period of time is like a pain in the ass for us. So do away with the membrane. The water can naturally drop down. If the water doesn't naturally drop down, you'll see the water on your joints. Just drill some 20mm holes straight through. The water will drop through there. When it's dried out, get yourself some, what's it called? Foam, expanding foam. Fill your holes up, job's done. Right. Okay, so it's absolutely pinning it down now. What we're going to do, we're going to get this Aiger Protect on. It's not Aiger Protect, they don't have any Aiger Protect. It's really hard to get in the country. I'm kind of thinking that's because of us, because Aiger rang us up before and told we would push the sails through the roof. Is that clean? Okay. Jen's blowing most of the water off. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get this first board down, and then as we do it, I'm going to blow the water away as well to get most of the water away. It's not the end of the world if it's still a bit there, it doesn't really matter, but we'll try and get the bulk of it away. What we're going to do, we're going to fix it down with some 60mm screws. Adam, we got 60mm screws. 5-minute glue. Can you see them, Jen? 60mm screws.
60s.
Oh. Right. Can you stay under there and film from there? Yeah. Right. If Jen just nips over here a minute and gets wet for just a tiny bit. It's all right. It's fine. Right. The steel. We're going. It's fine, it's fine. We're going. The steel shoes hang over. What we're going to do is let the the flooring fly over as well. So when we build our wall, the OSB flies down and doesn't catch on there. It's very much like fitting laminate floor. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go down and mark where the joists are. Because if I don't mark where the joists are, when I put my next board on, I won't be able to see where the joists were. Adam, are you going to cut? I just put a few in here, just to get us going. It's very much like a laminate floor, as I said. Your off-cut of there will go over there and strike along. We're going to use 5-minute glue and put it on the joints. Because the floor is 22mm thick, it doesn't need to sit above a joist on a joint. It's quite happily floating there. Because when you glue it there, it creates one full board. And there's loads of strength in that. Never ever had an issue. Same with the roof as well. I know a lot of you go, oh, you shouldn't be joining it where it's on a joist. But nobody's walking on it and it's absolutely fine. I don't mind a bit. Whoops. Don't mind a bit of over-engineering, but sometimes it's too much. Adam's turned into a right bitch recently and he just moans all the time and shouts and carries on at people. You know that isn't the microphone, don't you? Yeah. Right, do you want to stand back under there then? Give it a wipe off, Jen. Jen, bring it past the shoe.
Yeah. Right, so 890. 10 mil over this shoe or?
Just so it passes the shoe. And then when we build the wall will fly down past it. You know the OSB?
Yeah.
You got me? I don't like this easy peel because you can't see what your joint properly, you know what I mean? Yeah. No.
Just take some pictures of the glamour. Look at the glamour, working outside.
What? No. You start at that side now. He'll put it down roughly where it's going to go, Jen.
Yeah.
And then you know how far to glue it, because you don't want to be gluing it too far. So, the bits, what we do when we screw them, we don't screw the end of the board. When you put your next board in, it's difficult to get in it. So, I'm shouting again now. So, what we do is, we only screw it to about there, and then when that next board comes in, just like this one has here, you see how we've got no screw there? So what we'll do now, we'll pop a screw there, another one there, and then that's that board in. Like I say, your off cut from there goes there. It's as straightforward as that. 5-minute glue, hammer, block of wood, tap it into submission, get it to where you want it to be, and then you're off on your next one. Right, that'll do you, Jen.
Can I just say that all the time,
Having a laugh.
Having a laugh and
It's all a joke.
Look at this.
Yeah. We're off. Yeah, good. Okay, so that's the flooring down. Right, that'll be the flooring down. So we're going to blow most of the water out. It's got protection on, it's fine anyway. That's glued, that's fixed. We screwed it down with 60 mil screws. We used 5-minute glue on it. That's the base basically. It's raining obviously, so we're going to call it a day now and get ourselves off home and go play Xbox, Jen.
Yeah.
Adam's going to go walk his dog with his forts, and I'm going to sit at home editing.